Second game looks to be on Land Nomad. So that's what we're going to see here with Incas for Alcoldner and the Nonsensefactory with Vietnamese. So the civs have been reversed from the previous matchup, as the players will start looking for a good spot. This could be a decent TC spot for the Nonsensefactory. Could be within line of thinking here, but the third villager very far away, as opposed to Alcoldner's villagers actually spawning a little bit closer here. So Alcoldner gets a head start to the TC with Incas. Incas houses also support more population, that support 10 instead of the generic 5 population. So that gives Incas kind of a wood savings early on. You could even justify going into a barracks straight away here as Incas. Get a few militia, also called Angry Housewives on my channel, out and start scouting a bit more efficiently with those. But looks like a great starting spot for Alcoldner. A couple of sheep, boar, and some hunt to take here. Whereas for the Nonsensefactory, we have the TC over here. I mean, looking at the scouting, it's fine. You find a woodland, you find a boar, you have a sheep to scout a little bit, stone, gold, everything. But in my honest opinion, this would be a much better TC spot. It's a broader woodland for your TC to cover, and you'd have the boar closer, you have the hunt closer. But I think the reasoning is that to collect all the 3 villagers, it would be shorter walking distance for this one to help with the completion or get to work once it is up. We see both players using sheep extensively for scouting here as well. Alcoldner already with a decent grasp of the map. Has some sheep over here. Finds another little bit more hunt and at least one boar. Let's see if there are any more boars nearby here. There's one down here that's probably too far. This one could be found with some luck. And then, yeah, that's about it. So food-wise, I'd almost argue that they seem to be in roughly similar position. One boar here. If the Nonsensefactory finds this one as well, that's the second one. And that has indeed been scouted. Yeah, good scouting from both players here. Now, Nomad isn't really that eventful early on until we could get to the next stages and stuff. Alcoldner struggling a bit for food here, as you can see. He's taking loom, maybe for scouting purposes with the villager as well. You'd have a long lure on your hands potentially later on as well. Let's go here. I'm fast forwarding a little bit simply because the Dark Age on Nomad maps can be rather similar and boring to watch. It's basically booming simulator for up until the 12th, 13th minute probably. Nonsensefactory gets housed here, as can happen on Nomad if you forget to drop those early houses. You start with quite a bit of wood though, so you could justify just dropping a few houses right away. Maybe even a mill to start milling the deer if you need to. On Alcoldner's side has stabilized the food income to some extent, taking a really long lure here, but should be succeeding. Does not commit the TC to shoot the boar here, doesn't want to take that chance, and but saves the villager and gets the boar right under the TC here. So good start for Alcoldner it seems. Stone pretty close to the TC as well, so if he finds the Nonsensefactory finally, may have a hunch here unless this is a spec bug. The goat is somewhat close to the Nonsensefactory here. Walling potentially is good for the Nonsensefactory though. Here's a house is going up between the woodlines to try and cover some ground here for the early aggression. But then you could wall all the way towards the edge over here. If you scout it, that is. And then you'd have, and then wall down here, or down here preferably, and you'd have a whole little square of the map for yourself. With resources available like stone and gold here. 2 on gold for the Nonsensefactory. I have a hunch this might be an archer's build because here comes the barracks as well. I would almost argue that you could go, could justify going scouts even with Vietnamese on Land Nomad because you don't necessarily know where the enemy is. Now for the Vietnamese you know, but even so for the scouts with your mobility, you'd get to the enemy more quickly. And looking at the uptimes here, they're going to be up at a very similar stages of the game. Alcoldner is planning the towers here. Could be thinking about defensive towers as well, since he's up against an archer civilization here. But yeah, with 2 on stone, Must have been having towers in mind here. Alright, so let's slow it down now. We are in the feudal age, and actually some angry housewives moving forward now for the Nonsense Factory. So does kind of a drush style play here that provides with some very nice scouting intel here. Fancy houses will maybe find stone over here. Just knocking on the door of the house here to say hello and moving on. Here comes the blacksmith for Alcoldner. So once he can get into defense upgrades for the villagers, he will have no problem dealing with the infantry opening here from the Nonsense Factory. Actually, men-at-arms in the end for Vietnamese. I mean, if you can find the exposed economy like up here, then you're still in a good spot here. And yeah, for now, just committing them to scouting, and any scouting intel is good scouting intel, in my opinion. So even if you're not able to deal any damage past the walls, just go for as much knowledge of the map as you can. Looks like 3, 4, maybe even 5 on gold now for Alcoldner. Is putting up some quick walls here. Doesn't want to let these men-at-arms into his economy. This area is still exposed, but he doesn't stress that. He doesn't expect the Nonsense Factory to move around and find that. One house will be going down, though. Not going to cause Alcoldner to get housed here. And actually stops attacking the house and goes for the palisade here instead. Sends the villager out for some reason. Probably was meant to be here. I think this isn't this an opening though? Or is it? No, never mind. Never mind. Just looks can be deceiving. And yeah, we see the full wall here from the Nonsense Factory though. I like that one. All of the resources now are well within the walls, and the only place a tower could be hurtful here is here, but then it would be within DC range. Maybe you could justify a tower here and then break through and drop some more, but in terms of tower aggression, the Nonsense Factory is perfectly fine around here. Archers chasing these men-at-arms now. They will soon be history. And looking at the populations, it's evident that Alcoldner is doing a better job at avoiding idle time as well. Now goes into wheelbarrow for his 6 farms, and could be thinking about that Castle Age progression very soon. What I've seen a lot of in these Land Nomad games though, whether it be 1200 elo max or the higher elo bracket up to 1500, I see very neglected scouting of the map as a whole. Very little expansion to the neutral resources, and in general people just fight for their own spot. They don't really try to expand, drop some TCs on stones here and here, and limit raids in that way, or the raids damage potential. They tend to spawn pretty close with their TCs and then fight back and forth for the map control that way. And as a caster, I guess I'm thankful for that, because it means we'll have shorter games overall and not drag them out until 2 hours. But I've seen a lot of early GDs as well, just because of that, locking yourself into an area very close to the edge, like both players kind of are doing here as well. Imagine if either of the players were in the middle here. You'd have the option to expand to the north, to the south, to the southeast, depending on where your opponent is located, of course. Castle Age well on the way for Alcoldner now. See the wood and gold eco absolutely justifying some kind of continued archers play here. Even going into a barracks because the Nonsensefactory is with the archers follow up here to the man-at-arms. He is Vietnamese, that makes perfect sense to go archers. And looking for a breakthrough point here. And again, the scouting is of essence here. I mean, Alcoldner has plugged this side now, but early on when the men-at-arms hit, they could have easily just looped around and hit some exposed eco up here and denied or delayed walls. And still, there's an opening over here. There's an opening here. Or you could sneak all the way around with your archers and still deal some damage. They reach over the walls, sure, but they only have 4+1 range, so the damage potential is limited. Defensive castle now for Alcoldner. It's not the worst, I guess. It's covering TC, covering gold, covering stone here. But then again, you're not really making any expansion. Why not up on the hill here instead to protect two huge wood lines and some stones and golds here? And I think the reasoning is because there are 10 archers here, but they can't really pass too far next to the TC anyway. And Castle Age is in. Oh. Maybe the Nonsensefactory can actually deny this castle. And what is that gate? Okay. Some villagers lost arguably needlessly here for Alcoldner in the castle building. Once it's complete, obviously. But at the expense of losing at least 2 or 3 villagers, some Eagle Scouts run in, but they really won't serve as anything else than a distraction here. I think the outmost villagers here will go down to Castle Fire though, so a decent trade for Alcoldner in the end, with the Nonsensefactory still in the feudal age, just kicked up, with 5 villagers total, so the villager trade there is a good trade for the Nonsensefactory. It effectively means that the villager count will be closer when the Nonsensefactory reaches the castle age here. Alcoldner is committing to 1 TC, 1 range for the time being, has the castle up, but the unique unit Kambayuk doesn't really apply here. This is mainly a defensive castle. Some stray archers forward. Military count is higher for the Nonsensefactory and going for the stone walls here to secure their own little corner down here. I mean, stone walls makes perfect sense when you're up against Incas because it will make it so much harder for the Eagle Warriors to run into your eco. Stone walls up here as well. Walls out to gold though, you could have easily extended a little bit further. And now could happen that the Eagle Warriors will be able to stop these walls from going up, so some quick finishing of these walls will be necessary. Good defensive call by the Nonsensefactory here, just going straight for those stone walls against the Eagle Warriors. If you want to finish them quickly, just go for a stone gate here and you're good to go. Alcoldner responds with the Siege Workshop to break through the walls, and now Castle Age is in for the Nonsensefactory. See this map presence though, I mean both players are in the castle stage, but they're not really scouting the map, even though Alcoldner has some fantastic mobility in the Eagles. And they're not expanding on the map in the castle age. The Nonsensefactory has enough wood for almost 2 town centers here, and could easily drop 1 here, drop some here, but right now maybe going to commit to eco inside. TC on the woodland here is just fine. It's all within the stone walls and you will not be subject to raids, so I like that call. Mangonel to push the walls here now with some Eagle Warriors to chase. Could be that the Nonsensefactory will have to make another layer of walls here. as it goes on, will most definitely need some response to the mangonels. No siege workshop up just yet for the Nonsense Factory. Here it comes though, well behind the walls, so the enemy mangonel cannot scout it. This is going to be the micro of the year if one crossbow here micros down this mangonel. And Vietnamese archer saves the life with 1 HP there. Yeah, I got hit by just 15-20 heavy stones there, was just fine. So the Vietnamese they are armored enough to handle large projectiles from a catapult, apparently, even as a single archer. So workshop is up. Alcoldner, I don't think you can see that. Ram trying to break through will or could potentially succeed here. Let's see if the crossbow's picking off. No, it's off in time. Okay. Alcoldner with a little bit more scouting on the map now, knows of some more neutral goals to expand to as needed if the game goes for long. But right now, very much defensive play from the Nonsensefactory here. Not going to let Alcoldner in through the stone walls, obviously. Just minding their own business, committing to more crossbows, and will be getting to Arbalest most likely later on. Let's see if this is possible to hit from behind the walls. Could be. Yeah. Got a nice hit in there, did not clean up the mangonel. Takes a little bit of damage, but that's fine. Stray shot is enough to take out Alcoldner's offensive mangonel. Lots of gold in the bag for Alcoldner though, not really using it. Probably going to go full eagles here, which the Nonsensefactory admittedly should consider taking into a defense against. Maybe starting to prepare supplies and men-at-arms line, swordsman line in the barracks. Supplies is indeed a thing for Vietnamese, and you could go into long swordsmen in the castle age against eagle warriors. Could go into knights as well, or even elephants, but elephants are way too slow, obviously. Now trying to deal with the ram here with just 4 archers sent in the mangonel now. Could get a pretty hit in here though, as another piece of wall comes up just in time. Oh! Yeah, alright. Gets a decent hit in on the eagle warriors here. Pulls back the crossbows yet again just to make sure another mangonel cannot be threatening here. So good preemptive call there by the Nonsensefactory to not risk taking a mangonel shot here. Alcoldner getting a little bit salty here, and it's not Arena, you know. Good thing he put a smiley face, otherwise he would be perceived as rude. But it's true, the Nonsensefactory making their own little arena here with Vietnamese. Stonewalls are up, crossbows move forward. And yeah, stonewalls basically everywhere. This is looking a lot like an arena map gen, actually. Arena hideout crossover here, since there's some palisades here as well. Relic, not just taken just yet. Wood count, again, I'm going to say this about players who don't spend their resources. When you have this kind of resources floating, and get housed for that matter, drop some houses. Oh, siege tower! Siege tower! And sliding eagles, apparently. Alright. So, Alcoldner here responding to the clown tactics of the Nonsensefactory here, sending a siege tower to the wall to send in lots of eagles here, adopting some arena clown plays here. This castle will hopefully not get started, because it would be denied immediately by these 25 soon to be even more eagles here. And now we're talking. We have eagle warriors. We have 25 of them. And yeah, they could actually start be numbers justified to take out town centers here. They're out the wrong side of the siege tower though, so they can't really contest these crossbows anymore. But who cares? Now you could just run in for the raids and go for the kill here. As the defensive castle goes up, this palisade gate should crumble like cookies when Alcoldner attacks, and the damage potential should be huge here. Some house walls to be prepared here. Let's see how quickly it can break through here. If the castle goes up, it shouldn't be possible to enter for the eagles anymore. Okay, does not go for the house foundation there, even though it's pretty weak. One angry housewife wanting to keep track of these tanky anti-archer boys as well. Crossbows, however, forward, taking a huge hit from the Alcoldner's Mangonel here, but still in decent numbers, being Vietnamese. Castle about to go up. Alcoldner will need to pull away here. Will be trapped actually here, right next to the castle. So that's going to cause some units losses here. KD 29 to 19 though, so some value of the Eagles after all. As the crossbow chase should have no problem breaking through the palisade walls up here if that's a choice for the Nonsensefactory. TC to the side for Alcoldner, some nice expansion there. He is falling behind the villagers though, with only 2 town centers against the enemy's 3. Eagle is apparently struggling to find a way back out through the siege tower here, or maybe just wants to stick around. Crossbows stand no chance against these numbers here. You should never go forward against the Eagles here. Maybe not knowing that they're still there. Yeah, we definitely know. And Alcoldner is reacting, so he's going to lose a few units here for free actually. And the crossbows could just pull back towards the castle and deal with this, but this is not the prettiest trade ever for the Nonsensefactory, unfortunately. Alcoldner will be losing numbers as well, but I think his eco will easily support replenishment here. Look at those units sliding away again. And actually going for a forward Inca's castle here, blocking the siege tower with the builders. We'll need to move the siege tower to let them in, and they slide through the walls. That's a nice visual bug right there. Crossbow still dealing with the Eagles as well. Alcoldner has so many resources in the bank and still only at 88 pop, not really making use of all of this. There's a hole in the walls as well. Here come the crossbows again to try and deny this castle. The rams will disturb that firing a little bit because they will now be possibly be focusing at the rams instead, and definitely not on the builders. 6 builders here against 11 crossbows, but castle at 98%, that's going up. Crossbow mass is to the north now for the Nonsensefactory, is dealing with the town center idling this one. If there's any inside at all. Not really, and did get the kills before they could garrison here. Both players on the way to the Imperial Age, but the Nonsensefactory with a lead here, meaning that this castle could produce a couple of trebs, deal with this castle no problem. As Alcoldner is finally spending his wood again, to some extent at least, dropping quite a few archery ranges, going to try and outmass Vietnamese here maybe, or go into mass skirms, and then has the barracks as well to produce. The eco situation looks healthier for the Nonsensefactory though. This regarding the fact that the wood situation is just off the charts here. Could justify dropping another TC and neutral resources somewhere, as Alcoldner has a bunch of villagers going forward here, looking for a place to expand, and now a town center pretty close to the enemy here. I was suspecting a castle for a moment there, but stone count certainly doesn't justify that. Crossbows just chilling out here for now. Should just loop in and try and deal some damage to Alcoldner's exposed economy here. So many exposed farms here. If you take this whole group of crossbows in here, you'll be looking at 15-20 villager kills if you are if you're paying attention. Arbalest is in for the Nonsensefactory. Alcoldner right around the corner of Imperial Age here. But looking at the ecos overall, still looking better for the Nonsensefactory, who should consider using the market to sell some wood, or use that wood for farms and other kinds of production capabilities, because it's never good when you still have population space to be floating a lot of resources like this. You just need to make use of them. Here come the ARPs moving forward, going to go for a raid in Alcoldner's base. Alcoldner's army, all of it is out of position by far here, and it's going to be surprised here to say the least. Good reaction, and still missing Bracer, these Arbalest, but Wreaking Havoc here still will be getting some kills in. Villager lead is 25 for the Nonsensefactory for the moment. If he just dodges Castle Pyre here, should be fine. It's wasting Arbalest numbers here, I would say, but still looking at some good damage output, 99 to 71 villagers now, as Alcoldner is queuing his first treb. probably from this castle, but about to lose it to enemy units here. I think there's a calculated risk from the Nonsense Factory to take, still having 31 military, having the most of it at home here. So good raids after all, denying all of this farm eco, making the food eco of Alcoldner pretty useless after this food has been spent. So that's 3 trebs pushing, should have no problem pushing further here now. Elite skirms in the mix though, so the Nonsense Factory will be needing some kind of counter unit to that. Could go for Imperial skirms as Vietnamese, of course, but the more obvious pick would just be to drop some stables and drop some farms as well, drop some more farms with that wood income and start making light cab. Arbalest still denying the farms up here, so denying that eco as Alcoldner is dropping more town centers around the map. Gold mining camp down here as well, making use of the map now, taking good map control here to extend the economy as best he can, although at the cost of being somewhat exposed. The Arbs and masses are more than enough to deal with the elite skirms here. Look at the stables going up as well. Certainly indicates a light cap switch, and Alcoldner taps out and calls the GG, and I think the overall situation is the eco issue here. Had to deal with the Arbs here. I think he finally chased them away for a bit, but looking at the food situation is less than stellar here. Lots of wood and gold in the bank though, that could have been who knows how many are blessed from these 4 ranges in the time those ranges have been up. So eco spending is one issue here, but all in all it's better eco for the Nonsense Factory, getting some good raids in with Arbalest there and ending up with a 30 villager high as we see the end stats here. Overall higher score, maybe that's what Alcoldner is looking at as well, being behind 1700 score could be disheartening as well. KD pretty similar though, this game wasn't necessarily over. Food, wood, more for the Nonsense Factory, more gold as well, but Alcoldner was expanding, something the Nonsense Factory wasn't really doing aside from their own little arena. And then uptimes significantly faster to the castle for Alcoldner here, didn't get maximum output from that due to the stone walling from the Nonsense Factory.